Black here, and welcome back to another Doctor Who video, in which today I'm going to be discussing rare Doctor Who books. And as you might be able to notice, in front of me are two Doctor Who annuals, and as you might be able to tell, I think I have different variations on this specific annual. Basic story behind this is that the annual you're looking at on the right, just for clarification, this is the 1981 annual. The annual on the right I got for my birthday back in 2014, along with 3 other Doctor Who annuals. Yesterday I ran into another copy of the 1981 annual for £3 in a charity shop, which is pretty good, and I thought I didn't have the annual already, so I bought it. Turns out I already had the annual, but from looking at further inspections, I think the annual that I got back in 2014, or the copy of this specific annual I got here, or back in 2014, I think the specific annual I got is either, I don't know, a different variation on the 1981 annual, but most likely what it is, it's a test run for the 1982 annual, from what I can gather, and from my best sort of analysis on the item. And to further back up that this is a possibility, in the 90s, when the Target books were coming to a conclusion, they used different Doctor Who book covers and whatnot to create the book covers they were creating at the time. So using other Doctor Who books and whatnot isn't to create other Doctor Who books, isn't out of the possibility for back in the 1980s when they were making these annuals. So what is exactly different between these two annuals? Well, one thing you might be able to tell right away is that the one on the right is a lot more vibrant in colour than the one on the left. The one on the left, as you can see here, has an extremely miscoloured spine, as you can clearly see, and at one point in time it was originally red, as you can see, but so this one may just be discolorized from age. But the most interesting thing about this is that this one on the right here doesn't have 1981 or annual 1981 on it. And as for the spines, as you can see, the spines are quite different. As you can see, this one is very miscolorized, but as you can tell, it was red at one point. But this one doesn't have the Doctor Who annual 1981 on the back. Then the backs are practically the same, other than sort of colour vibrance, with the one on the left here being having sort of a dark blue bottom, and this one having a sort of navy, sort of purplish blue bottom to it. This is where it gets really interesting. Taking a look at the inside of this annual, we have the sort of opening of it with stories and whatnot within the annual. Doctor Who annual 1981 sort of artwork for the annual, then a price sticker at the bottom here. Then taking a look at the back, we have the Stentovian problem, which is like a little mini game for the annual. Taking a look at my 2014 annual, we have all of this stuff stuck into it. We have Doctor Who sort of 1981 sort of stuck on from like a newspaper or something like that onto this annual. We also have a list of the Tom Baker stories here, like a list of every single Tom Baker hit story here, which is really interesting, and this sort of what puts into my mind that this might be sort of a factory test run for the 1982 annual, because if you were to look, this is a list of every single Doctor Who story Tom Baker starred as a Doctor in. It even includes the Doctor Who stories made and screened in 1981 to end off his era as the Doctor. And considering this annual was published in 1980 and they just named it the 1981 annual because that's how annuals worked, this was obviously stuck in after the annual was originally printed, because you've got Logopolis, Keeper of Traken, and the sort of E-Space trilogy there, which were screened in the 1981, I think, at least from half of the E-Space trilogy onwards. So that has obviously been stuck in shortly after the after the 1981 annual was originally published. And this is where it gets really interesting. As you can see with this annual down here, it's got annual 1981 up there, then a price down there. But this one with the stuck in stuff doesn't have that. Neither of which have been printed onto the actual annual itself. Then taking a look at the back of the annual, we have this stuff stuck in, which is the companions from 1980s Doctor Who, or from 1981 Doctor Who, with the 4th Doctor, Tegan, and Nyssa being introduced in Keeper of Traken, and Tegan being introduced in Logopolis. So yeah, somebody could, when previously owning this annual, could have theoretically customised this annual for their own needs, or however they wanted to make the annual look. They may have just wanted to customise it and make it a bit different, but I still think this is quite possibly a factory test run of the 1982 annual, simply because there is no annual 1981 printed on the cover of this, and there is no price sticker down here, or no annual 1981 at the top there, as you can clearly see. So if my assumptions are correct on this annual, this is a early factory test run of the 1982 annual, in which they just printed a non-to-be publicly released, or sort of a private version of the 1981 annual, missing a few things, so they can play around with it, stick a few things in, and get a general feel for what the 1982 annual might have looked like. So yeah, the main reason why I wanted to make this video is because I know I'm not the most knowledgeable on Doctor Who, rare Doctor Who books, and I know there's other people out there that are much more knowledgeable on rare Doctor Who books out there, and this is just really a discussion video asking for help in terms of determining if this is a rare Doctor Who book or not, because if my assumptions are correct on this annual, on this specific copy of this annual, this is a early factory test run of the 1982 annual. As I said, these bits could have stuck in by the previous owner, but that would still not explain why there is a lack of printing on the annual of the annual 1981 up here, the price down there, and the 1981 annual 1981 on the cover and on the spine as well. So if you could help me out here with if you're really knowledgeable on your rare Doctor Who books and whatnot, you think you can help me out here by determining if this is a early factory test run of the Doctor Who 1981 annual, please let me know in the comments. And that's all I've really got to say on this video and this specific item. I just wanted to sort of make this sort of video as sort of a discussion video, as factory test runs and whatnot are a sort of really common thing for companies to do. In fact, there's loads of early factory test runs of action figures from Doctor Who on eBay at the moment. Like, I once saw a Unearthly Child William Hartnell figure with, I think, a green cape. So if you could help me out here, and if you've got rare knowledge on rare Doctor Who books, and if you know anything about rare Doctor Who books and you can help me out here, please do in the comments, as I am very interested and somewhat confused about this specific Doctor Who book. And if my assumptions are correct on this, this is a Doctor Who book that world distributors must have played around with back in the 1980s to create the 1982 annual, to get a general feel for it, and making it a early factory sort of test run of this Doctor Who book. And if this is an early factory test run of this Doctor Who book, I would say only about at least 1 to 5 copies of this exist in the world. So if it is a factory test run and there is only 1 to 5 copies of it in the world, or maybe this is the only one in the world, this means this will make this book the rarest book in my collection, like 500 times rarer than my Times Champion, which is a miracle. So if you guys could help me out here with this very sort of odd Doctor Who book find I've managed to stumble across, please leave me a comment in the comment section down below. And yeah, that's all I've really got to say on this video, sort of on this sort of item. Sort of a different video than not what I normally do. Not really classifying this as an Underworld update, as this is sort of something completely different, and I may make this into my own series in which I discuss sort of odd items in my collection, and this is sort of a good starting point for that. So if you could help me out here with this, with more information on this really bizarre Doctor Who item, or items rather, in my collection, leave me a comment down below. But anyways, like, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Pitch Gold Black, dematerializing.